Hello, everybody. This is Bill Draves, and welcome to the best Titanic story you'll ever hear. Well, when he was in high school, our son Willie had to write a history paper interviewing someone who had witnessed an historical event a long time ago. And so Julie, my wife, and I decided to take him to talk with Landon Divers, the oldest man in town. Our town, where I grew up, is Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, a city of 42,000 located at the foot of Lake Winnebago, one of the largest inland lakes in the United States. It's the home to Mercury Outboard Motors, and it's one of the best places to fish for sturgeon in the world. In 1912, Fond du Lac was a bustling, prosperous, and growing manufacturing and railroad town. It was the 10th largest city in Wisconsin, but its population back then was just 18,000 people. Before we went into Landon Diver's house, I told Willie this will only take 20 minutes. He's 102, I said. We walked in and found books all over, including Microsoft training manuals on the floor the size of New York City phone directories. Landon didn't want us to take any notes, he just wanted to talk. 3 hours later, we cut him short and begged to leave, our heads about ready to explode trying to remember all the stories he told. But the best story wasn't hard to remember. It was about the Titanic. In 1912, Landon's father worked on one of the railroads. One day his father got injured working. There were so many railroad injuries back then that the railroad had a full-time doctor in town. But the railroad doctor was away that day, and so another local doctor, Dr. Minihan, came to the house. Dr. Minihan said he was going to take a trip to Europe. Another of his patients, a fortune teller, said he should beware of danger on the trip. Dr. Minihan said he didn't believe in fortune tellers, but he doubled his life insurance policy just in case. One of Landon's best friends was Master Macaulay. He went over to the Macaulay's house to listen to this new invention, the phonograph. But Mrs. Macaulay said that the phonograph wasn't near as good as real live Italian opera, and the family was going to go to Naples soon to hear some. Dr. Minihan took his wife Lillian and his sister Daisy to Europe on holiday. But halfway through the trip, Daisy came down with an appendicitis, and Dr. Minihan had to operate on his own sister, saving her life. But the holiday had to be cut short. Fortunately, they found space on an ocean liner headed to New York, the Titanic. And as we all know, the Titanic set sail on April 10th, 1912, and hit an iceberg the night of April 14th. Dr. Minihan put his sister and his wife into a lifeboat. They could hear guns firing as some of the men tried to get into the lifeboats and had to be shot. As his wife is being lowered into the lifeboat, he holds his wife's hand for the last time and says, "Be brave." He tells her to be brave. Landon's best friend, Master Macaulay, and his parents are asleep on the Carpathia, headed to Naples, when a crewman comes into his bedroom and rips the blanket off him. He goes out into the passageway, and among the cold, shivering women and children, he sees Daisy and Lillian Minihan from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Dr. Minihan was praised as a man of great moral character. Character as clear as the sun, the local paper wrote. Daisy Minihan died a few years later in 1919 from pneumonia. Mrs. Minihan lived another 56 years, dying in 1968 at the age of 93. This is Bill Draves with the best Titanic story you'll ever hear. Thanks for listening.